So if you're at all involved in the VTuber community, you've probably heard about Holotempus. It's Hololive's new English-speaking group of boys that was just recently announced. Now what you might not know is I auditioned for it and didn't get in. And that's fine, I'm not salty about it. I have faith in Hololive and know that they probably chose the best people that they were looking for. And also, to be honest, my video and application weren't that great. But I did think it would be fun if we went back and watched my audition video and maybe point out where I went wrong and why they didn't choose me. I auditioned in character and everything, but I made the entire video in about 3 hours, so it's a very rough around the edges. I still wasn't as comfortable editing videos as I am nowadays, and my equipment was a lot worse. It's even in my old apartment, so you'll see a different background. With that being said, I'm still kind of proud of it, even if it is pretty bad for an audition video. Of course, this is only half of the application. The other part was a bunch of written answers that I think I also bombed. Also, I just want to point out I'm in no way salty. Best of luck to everyone in Holotempus. You all deserve it. Good luck, and I hope it's everything you want. Without ado, here is my audition video for Hololive from back in March. Hey there. Now picture this. The year is 2022. You, a Terran of the Sol System, as I assume you all are, decide that you're tired of sitting alone in your room. It's time to watch some VTubers.
That's weird!
Now, you don't have to tell me that it's been a tough year for you. There were bills to pay, you had to find a suitable mate, proper living quarters, other Terran problems. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the character I was playing. Hololive gave the option to people to audition in character, and since I didn't have a VTuber model, I sort of just talked through it. I thought it would be cool if my character had a space theme going on, so I invented Sergeant Barnabas Walker. He would be a space captain who was sent to Earth to sort of take it over, which is why you see the stars and copyrighted music here. And if you're thinking it sounds a lot like Invader Zim, it's because it does. I made the character very narcissistic, but still a pushover. I thought that was really funny. The issue is it's not at all like my actual personality. I'm really good looking and awesome and great and very humble. But the traits I was exhibiting in this video probably weren't what they were looking for at the time. That being said, you're also going to notice there's a ton of stock footage in this video. I wasn't too comfortable showing my face, but I went through weird in-betweens of the first half of the video is almost entirely dominated by stock footage, and then the second half has almost none.
Oh, gee golly,
You say?
wouldn't it be nice if one of those VTubers just came down and decided to rule over planet Earth?
And it would be, wouldn't it? If only some dashing starstrider, galactic heartthrob would fall down from the sky and decide to bring you, the people of Terra, or Earth as you call it, into something bigger than just itself. Don't worry any longer. I'm right here. That's right, it's your favorite Starstrider hailing from the planet Heni Prime in the Thuco star system. That's Sergeant Barnabas Walker, codename Spectre. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who's this guy from above coming here telling me how to live my life? Even though you want that, of course. Well, I'll have you know, I'm from Cones. The Cones. What's that? You've never heard of the Coalition of Not Evil Star Systems?
That's weird!
Now I know what you're thinking. Hey, Barney, I hate living on Earth. Why would you want to take it over? I mean, integrate it into the Coalition of Not Evil Star Systems. Well, and let me tell you, Earth has a lot of great things going for it. You have good food, anime games. You're not evil? So I think this was definitely the laziest part of my audition. You'll notice a lot of this is just me talking to the camera, except never really talking to the camera. I'm always like looking around and looking at the ground and looking around. I actually had my script up on another screen that I was reading off of, which is why I never really make eye contact in this. The other thing is there are a lot of different editing choices I would have made. I think that last screen where I'm listing stuff off is terrible. You can barely read the text. I could have just simply outlined it if I wanted it to be clearer. However, I do think there's some stuff that was worth salvaging. I think the part where I make Yagu talk in Photoshop is still pretty funny. But you'll notice we're like 2 minutes into the video and I still haven't talked really at all about what I would bring to the company, which is a trend you'll notice in this video. Because when I start talking about the good things about Earth, I tend to linger. But if we're being real, and if anyone asks you this, I didn't tell you, we're really in it for cows. Yeah, well, see, the thing is, cows are like some sort of miracle fauna you've got going on. Cows make milk, leather, breed quickly. They eat grass, and that's like the most common thing. No one's ever heard of a starving cow, and they taste delicious. No, that's not to say we're gonna get rid of humans. We're not. Someone needs to raise the cows, but you will be compensated nicely with entertainment from me in streams. Now, when I was sent here to conquer Earth, I had to really think hard about the best way to go about subjugating this planet. And so far, seems like VTubing is the way. You listen to VTubers, you'll watch VTubers 24 hours a day. There's a VTuber streaming right now that thousands of people are watching. You'll share their clips over social media, you'll listen to their music, you will wear their uniforms. Anything is possible when you're a VTuber. So truly, it's the best way to streamline world domination. So we're more than halfway through my audition video at this point, and nowhere in here have I actually said why I would be a good VTuber. I've made a couple jokes, I've talked about the character, but I've never really talked about myself. I spent like a minute talking about how great cows are instead of talking about how great I am. And then I start talking about the VTuber community. My mindset for doing this was I really wanted them to know that I know the VTuber niche, which is great, but when you only have a couple minutes in your audition video, you really should be talking about yourself. While knowing what VTubers are is a plus, it's not a must-have for just being entertaining. But eventually I did start talking about myself, and let me just say, it's not great. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, you may be some spacefaring, star-striding badass, but what can you stream? And let me tell you, you don't get to be a sergeant commander in cones without being a man of many talents. I can do tons of things. Well, except singing, dancing. I'm not great at art. But I am good at games. I love strategy games, sandbox games, and any sort of RPG in general. I also want a huge part of this stream to be about collaboration. Okay, if you had to ask me what the single worst part about my audition was, I would point to this portion right here. Why would I start talking about shit I'm bad at? I get self-deprecating humor, but this is the equivalent of going into a job interview and being like, "Hi, Burger King, I love a job. I like to put my feet in lettuce. I hate meat, will throw food, and I will open you up to lawsuits by being very rude and racist to customers." And while I did talk about my strengths, I like strategy games, but as I've learned, strategy games make for boring streams 95% of the time. And if that's all I'm pitching about what I'd stream, that's not great. Now, I get that collaboration is a huge part, but at this point I had no following, so I really didn't have the chops to say I would do this. If I can't be entertaining on my own, why would they want to hire me? However, while this was the worst part of the video, I do think I followed up with what is arguably the best part. We are in a golden age of live streaming, and so many VTubers seem stuck in just their smaller communities instead of branching out to the wide streamer community at large. We're seeing creative streams all over that I think can easily be adapted into a live 2D environment. But either way, you can look forward to me ruling you and a great partnership between the two of us. See you later. I think everything I said in that final portion still stands. I think VTubing is here to stay, but I do think they're getting too complacent and the creativity in the VTuber space is beginning to plateau. From what I can tell, there are really only two people who are really pushing what it means to be a VTuber forward, and that's Amelia Watson and Kason. Yes, there are tons of other VTubers that I really love, but they're not necessarily pushing the envelope. A great example of this would be Pokimane is a great streamer, she's an amazing content creator, but most of what she does is she just plays games. And if that's what she wants to do, Great, keep doing it, she's killing it. But then I would point to someone like Ludwig or Germa who are actively doing bigger, really creative streams and really pushing what it means to be a live streamer in this space. And what I was trying to say is I wanted to do that for Hololive and the VTuber space. But once again, at the time, I had no following, I created a bad video, so why would they put any trust in me? I've gotten leagues better at creating content, and I still wouldn't believe me if I said that today. So frankly, I don't blame them for not choosing me. But yeah, that was my audition video. If I had to say what my final thoughts were about this whole process, it's understandably I didn't get chosen. I had no following, no experience. My video may have been a little funny, but it was still really rough around the edges. I didn't talk about who I was enough and instead just started making jokes and doing lore. I think the core problem of this is I made almost an introduction video instead of an audition. If this was an introduction video for a new VTuber, I think it would be great. Unfortunately, it was an audition and I didn't talk to the company. Now, if Holotempus is a success, and I'm hoping it is, they're probably going to open up more male VTuber auditions. And if you're looking to apply, here's a couple notes. First off, don't ignore the essay portion. You might create the most banging video in the world, but if your essay isn't good enough, no one will ever see it, so it doesn't matter. 2, actually talk about yourself. I had a lot of fun making this video, and it clearly shows that I was having a good time. However, it's not a great audition. I didn't talk about myself nearly enough. I talked more about what things I'm bad at than things I'm good at, and that's bad. The other thing I would recommend is if you want to be a VTuber, you want to work for Hololive, you want to work for Niji Sanji, you gotta start building up a following now. If you can't be a streamer without working for one of these companies, you shouldn't be a streamer. If you have not to mention, you get tons of experience. In the time I've been making videos and streaming on YouTube, my content has gotten exponentially better. And if you do want to stop by my streams or look at some of my other content, I would super appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, but that's all I have to say. Once again, best of luck to Holotempus. Good job, you all. You killed it. Looking forward to your streams, and have a nice day.